The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, my name is Igor Motkovic. I'm a professional services engineer here with ARX, and I will be doing the training for enhancing SharePoint approvals with digital signatures. So before we start, I would like to show you a quick poll to see how many of you are already using CoSign digital signatures. Okay, so I can see that many of you are already using CoSign, and for this presentation I will be talking about the features we currently have in CoSign and the CoSign with SharePoint solution specifically. So for those of you who are already using this product, it will be a good review, and for the new people that are still not familiar with the solution, I will cover the basics, talk about architecture a bit, and we will see the features we provide for the SharePoint integration. So in the agenda, I will give you the general overview of the product and our integration with SharePoint. We'll talk about the architecture and how we enable SharePoint to sign digitally on files and list items, InfoPath forms, and so on. And we will also be talking about how to extend your current solutions using our API to perform digital signatures, signature verifications, and so on. And after that, we'll have a quick Q&A session where I will try to answer as many questions as I can. Of course, any questions that I will not be able to answer during this presentation, you're welcome to send them using our website, and we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so let's start. As you can see, my first slide, it talks about how basically you enable digital signatures in SharePoint. So there are two ways to do that. One way, a way we call side-by-side, is having our software installed on your client machine, and then signing a document, for example, a PDF or a Word file using this software, and then uploading this document into SharePoint. So this is a side-by-side configuration where SharePoint is not aware of the digital signatures that are in the document. SharePoint doesn't enable you to sign the document or to verify the signatures, but it does contain the document with the digital signatures. So that would be one way to do it. The second way to do it would be to use our add-on for SharePoint. And this add-on allows you to, first of all, you will see that it allows you to see some information about the digital signatures in a document, and that's without even opening the document. And then it will allow you to do stuff like signing a document directly from SharePoint without any need for any desktop solution. So the main benefit of that is the fact that you don't need to deploy this software to anyone. You just use the web browser. It can be used with external users outside of the organization, so that you don't need to make them download software and then support them on how to install the software and so on. As you can see, in both scenarios, CoSign is the main digital signature provider behind the scenes, and CoSign will be doing all the signing operations. So let's kind of review what is CoSign and the architecture behind it. So CoSign is a network-attached box. It's a server that has very high security standards in terms of how it's built and how it secures the private keys that are stored inside the box. Each user has, inside this box, can have a number of digital signing keys and certificates, and also we enable users to upload graphical images that will be used as part of the signature. They actually don't have anything to do with digital signatures, but they kind of look nice when you create those signatures inside the document. And since people are, when they talk about signatures, they're usually kind of familiar with seeing something handwritten, then it kind of gives you the look and feel of a real signature. Again, although it's a nice to have feature, it's not something you must use. We support having those images. And the typical scenario would be, so first of all, CoSign integrates with directory services. So if you want to use CoSign with Active Directory, for example, you install it in the Active Directory mode, and then it will synchronize with the Active Directory automatically. This means that you do not need to create the users directly on the CoSign appliance. Instead, you manage all your users as you used to in your Active Directory inside a specific group, and CoSign will sync to that user group, and it will create the users, and it will automatically create the digital signing keys and the certificates and the images. You will upload the images manually afterwards, and all of the management will be done through Active Directory. So if you want to disable a user from signing, you will simply remove that user from the group, and CoSign will pick up on that and will not allow the user to sign anymore. So a typical scenario for signing would be using some kind of an application such as our desktop applications, for example, our add-on to Word or Excel, or using SharePoint. SharePoint is another application that we enable to sign using CoSign. So once you take this application and you want to sign and you click on the sign button, a hash of the document, a fingerprint of the document will be calculated, and this fingerprint will be sent into the CoSign appliance. The CoSign appliance will use your signing key, and it will sign this hash file, this hash buffer, and this buffer will be sent with the digital signature back to the application that used CoSign for signing. This application will embed the signature back into the document, and this way, as a result, you will have a signed document with a digital signature inside. So this is a very typical scenario of how you would sign documents using CoSign. Okay, so moving on to a live demo, I want to demonstrate this application, how do you actually sign the document using our desktop applications. Okay, so I have a PDF file that I prepared in advance. I will open that. Okay, this is an example of a purchase order PDF. As you can see, I opened the PDF file using Adobe Reader, and you can see that there are two digital signature fields inside the PDF file. Now, we don't have to use these fields. I created them in advance. You can also sign anywhere you like. And in order to do that, you need to right-click on the PDF file from your desktop, choose Sign with CoSign. Of course, this is enabled because I have the CoSign client software installed on my machine. And you can see that the PDF is opened in a OmniSign utility we provide, a CoSign OmniSign utility. And this utility allows you to sign the document. So you can see that on the right pane, I have the names of the signatures I have here. So I can click on Sign directly from the pane. Or I can right-click on these fields and choose Sign. Or I can create a new field anywhere I want, just by dragging here the location I want to sign. And after I do that, you can see that I have a box with all these functions that I can actually choose the graphical image. So you can see I have several. And I can change the signing certificate, but I have only one, so I will choose my default one. And then all I need to do is click on the sign button, and the digital signature will be created. Now, I was not, didn't need to provide any username or password at this point because I was already logged into CoSign. but it's important to say that CoSign supports many different authentication schemes, starting from requesting a password each time you sign, and much more advanced methods such as using your fingerprint or one-time password, Kerberos authentication, and many other authentication schemes that are commonly used in today's authentication methods. So after I created the digital signature, I can go ahead and save this document as a PDF. So let me call it a signed PDF. And now, as you can see, a signed PDF was created. And if I open this PDF using Adobe Reader now, you will see that Adobe Reader will pick up on the signature that it is kind of inside the document. You can see that Adobe says that the document is signed. There is the green tick mark saying that the signature is okay. And if I hover on the signature field, you can see that I can actually click it, and then I can see additional info regarding the integrity of the document. It says that the document has not been modified since it was signed. I can see additional details about the signer, such as the signing certificate, signing time, and all other relevant information that I need to know about the digital signature. So this is something that Adobe Reader knows how to kind of give you the information for, because these are standard Adobe digital signatures that we create using CoSign. And this means that you can take this document and you can send it to anybody on the planet that has Adobe Reader. It doesn't need to have any CoSign access. It doesn't need to have any CoSign tools installed. He will simply open the document using Adobe Reader, and he will be able to validate your signature. So I talked about the side-by-side option. So after I sign the document, I can take this document and I can add it to SharePoint after it was signed. And normally, this would be where you put SharePoint, and SharePoint doesn't know anything about the document in terms of the digital signatures. But in my case, I have the add-on installed in SharePoint, CoSign Digital Signatures add-on. And so you can see that even before opening the document, you can see that SharePoint recognized that there is a signature in the document, and it gives me indication about the signer and the validity of the signature, even without opening the document. So we will touch on that much more in detail later, but at this point, this is kind of what I want to show you in terms of the side-by-side signing. Okay, so going back to the presentation, let's talk about what we offer inside the CoSign add-on for SharePoint. So first of all, we recognize the need for having digital signatures inside SharePoint and having CoSign integrated with SharePoint only made sense to us because both solutions are very centralized. CoSign allows you to manage all the certificates and signing keys in one appliance. SharePoint allows you to manage all your documents and workflows in one place. So it only made sense to kind of connect the two together. And we see all the time that SharePoint is a very growing market. Many companies moving to SharePoint and using SharePoint not only for document storage but also for approval workflows, and digital signatures and approval workflows go together very well because the most let's say the most powerful thing you can do in terms of an approval is to create a digital signature that will indicate that the document has not been changed after the digital signature was created, and you know who the signer was at the time of signing. So in terms of approval, this is the best you can get. So we created this standard solution that is now a part of our offering. I think this is the third version of it that I will be showing you. So it's rather mature now. It supports both SharePoint 2007 and 2010. You get the same set of features in both. We also support the free version of SharePoint, the WSS. And what you get inside this add-on is the ability to sign and validate different types of documents in document libraries, such as PDF files, Word, Excel. You can sign and validate InfoPath forms. This is a relatively new feature in our latest version. And you can sign on list items inside lists in SharePoint as well. So the main thing in our solution is the fact that there is a unified behavior when it comes to the signing process. We call it the signing ceremony or signature ceremony. So when you want to sign a different types of documents or list items, you are being redirected to a page which we call a signature ceremony page. We have all the info you need to create a digital signature, and we'll see that later on. Also, a very important feature in SharePoint as a tool, but with approvals specifically, is the workflows. So we enable SharePoint workflows with digital signatures with very simple but very powerful integration. So this is something I'll show you also in the next demo I'll do. All right, so let's take a look at the architecture of our add-on. So you can see that there is the SharePoint in the middle, and on one hand there are document libraries and the lists on the other hand, and we provide the ability to sign documents and lists, as I mentioned before. And then you have the two users, and these two users represent a workflow. So as you can see, the workflow can be done on all of these things. So it can be done on a list item, on a document, on a form, and this is all from SharePoint without any additional software. Of course, everything signature related will be using CoSign Appliance for the signature part. So if you take a look at the CoSign add-on PDF visual signing, which is a relatively new feature, we allow you to basically preview the document and place the signature in the document, in a PDF document, in a very visual and intuitive way directly from the web page. So you can see that when you try to sign a PDF file using our solution, first of all, you can browse to the different pages in the PDF file and choose the correct page you want to sign on. And then you can create a new signature and locate it in anywhere you want in the document. You can resize it and place it in the document in the desired location. You can control the appearance of the signature that will be created by the section on the right, or you can choose a signature field that is already in the document from the list of the signature profiles here on the right as well. So once you choose the correct location and all the settings, you can simply click the sign button, provide your credentials, and sign the document in a very visual kind of way directly from the browser. Now, another way you can manage the signature locations is by using the SharePoint content types. So for each document you can create, or for each set of documents, you can create a different content type, as you know, and then you can configure the signature profiles based on these content types. So if, for example, you can see here we have 3 content types, by clicking one of them, you will be promoted to a screen where you can create these signature profiles. So you can create a signature profile either manually by clicking on the Create Signature Profile option, or you can assign a signature profile from a template for each content type. Now, when I say template, what I mean by that is basically the document we saw before that has signature fields inside. This is a template. So when you say assign signature profile from template and you load this document, our add-on will read the signature fields and their locations and their settings from within this template, and it will create the signature profiles using the names of the fields as the profile names. So this is very simple because this allows you to design the template of the document using our utilities on the desktop, and then upload them and create signature profiles from them, and then create workflows using these profiles so that the user will not need to kind of choose where to sign. The workflow will define that for him, and all he needs to do is just approve it or reject the signing process. Another great feature we introduced in the latest version is the InfoPath signing directly from the SharePoint library. So if you have a digital signature enabled InfoPath form and you publish it as a web form into your SharePoint form library, you can actually sign this InfoPath form using SharePoint only. You don't need to have the InfoPath client, you don't need to have any software installed. Everything will be done through SharePoint, and we will demonstrate that as well. And enabling a digital signature for InfoPath form is rather very easy. You use the InfoPath designer and you go to the section you want to enable with digital signatures. you select the digital signatures tab, and you select the signature content that will be signed by the signature. And this means that InfoPath allows you to create signatures that are being applied only to a portion of the document. So you can create sectional signing instead of just signing the entire document, which is very nice because sometimes you would like different people to sign different parts of documents without locking the entire document, and we'll see that as well. So I think it's a good place to start with the presentation and kind of show you what I meant by all of these things. So we'll be using CoSign and SharePoint 2010 with our latest add-on. So going back to the document library, I have a PO PDF file here. This is the same file we saw before. Let me just quickly open it and show you how it looks like. Let's call it SharePoint. So just to show you that this is the same PDF file from before. Let's give it a second. Okay, it got stuck for some reason. Sorry, just a moment. Okay, here we go. And so you can see that this is the same document. It has two different signature fields inside. Nothing special about it. So by going to this PO PDF, I can click on the pull-down menu, and basically you can see we added 3 different features. So there is the sign with CoSign, verify signatures, and review signatures. So since I want to sign the document, I will click on the sign with CoSign. And going by the way, we enable the signature to be created using mobile devices as well. So you can see that instead of using the pull-down menu, we also added the CoSign tab in the ribbon with having these large buttons so that it will be easier to use it from a mobile device. So clicking on the Sign with CoSign button, you can see that I'm being promoted to the signing ceremony screen I mentioned before. So this screen has all of the basic details you need to sign the document. You have the username and password, you have the signature profile. But if you actually want to use the visual signature that I mentioned, you can click on the link here, and then you're being forwarded to the screen that allows you to create digital signatures visually. So you have 2 options here. You can either select one of the signature profiles and see where the signature will be created, like that. Or you can choose to create a new signature field and locate it anywhere in the document. This is kind of an ad hoc signing when you don't have any fields inside the document and you simply want to upload the document, sign on it, and that's all. So I can choose what to display in the signature. So I choose reason, for example. I can choose different date and time formats and so on. And then I'm going back to the signing ceremony screen, and I need to provide a reason. For example, I approve. I need to provide my username and password. And then I click on the sign button, and the digital signature was created. You can see the signature counter is now updated to 1. And now, before even I open the document, I can click on the pull-down menu, choose Review Signatures, and you will see that directly from SharePoint, I can see all of the relevant information regarding the digital signature inside that document. So I have the signature name, I have the email of the person who signed the signature, which is me, by the way. I have the date and time of the signing, the reason I just entered, and I have the link to the certificate. So if I click on that, I can actually see the digital certificate that was used to sign the document. Okay, going back. Again, it got stuck for a moment. Going back, so this functionality for signing documents is available to not only to PDF files but also to Word and Excel files. But the signing component only can be used only for PDF files. Okay, so moving forward with to the form signing. So I have a form library, and I have a form that I already published here. So you can see that I still have the signature counters, but I also have these fields that will be populated with the data from the form. And I will click Add Document, and this basically allows me to create an instance of the InfoPath form I published to this form library. So this is a travel request that I enabled with digital signatures. And you can see I have two digital signature fields here. One is for the request signature and one is for the approval. Now, I designed the form this in a way that the first signature, the request signature, will apply only for the request section. So everything up until this point will be signed by this signature. However, I didn't want to apply the signature to this space right here, because this is space for the approval notes, which will be signed by the approval signature, and the approval signature will sign the entire form as well. So I will add some data. Okay, I will add a couple of trips, change some data here just to demonstrate. And then, of course, I will save the document, save the form into the form library. I will check this form in order to get a new version of the document, of the form. Okay, so I'll check it back in. And now I have two options. I can either click on the form, as I did with the PDF signing process, sign, and choose one of these fields and sign on it. Or I can use a workflow I've created in order to sign this form as an approval process. So I will be using the workflow to demonstrate that, because this will be a good way to demonstrate the workflow as well. I will be using Nintex. I'm not sure how many of you are using Nintex or familiar with this tool, but this is a very nice designer for workflows that allows you to kind of very easily to create workflows in a very visual way without having any programming skills or requiring to code the workflow. So I think it's a very nice tool to demonstrate with, but it's important to say we're not limited to Nintex. You can use Visual Studio, for example, to create such workflows as well. But for presentations, I think this is the best solution. So as you can see, the workflow is rather simple. It is consists of two signing tasks, one for each user. So you have the demo 1 user in the workflow and the demo 2 user in the workflow. Both will be asked to sign the document one by another. So the first user, demo 1, signs the form, then the form is being signed by user demo 2, and then the workflow will be completed. Of course, you can reject the signing, and then you can create much more complex logic based on the outcome of each signing task, and so on. So I will start the workflow, and I will log in as the first user in this process, which is the user demo 1. Alright, and I will go to my workflow task, and you will see that there is a new task waiting for me saying please sign this request. So I will click on that task, on the edit item, and you will see that the signing ceremony is being displayed. Now it will be a bit different than the signing we did before for 2 or 3 main reasons. So the first reason would be that you can see that the signature profile, although we know there are 2, actually there is only one to select from, and this is because in the workflow I define the name of the signature profile so that I can enforce it, so that the user doesn't need to kind of understand where he needs to sign on which profile, so that he won't make any mistakes. So enforce the profile on him, so it's the request signature. The second thing you will see is that the username is now typed in and grayed out. And this is because we enforce that the user that the task was assigned to will be the user that will sign the document. So no one else will approve the document other than the user who the task was assigned to. And the third difference is the reject button, which you don't get in simple signing, only from workflows. So if I click the reject button, I can also supply the reject reason. Our workflow component will update the workflow itself about the outcome, so you can act upon that outcome and create different logic for different outcomes of this task. So I will provide my username and password for this account, click on the sign button, I will need to add a reason. So let's say, please approve this document, or a form in our case. We'll click the sign button, and this will sign the document, and it will create a new task for the second user. Just to show you that I cannot sign this task because I'm demo 1 and the user is demo 2, I will click on the edit item, and you see that I get an error saying that the task was intended for a different user. Now, if I'll go back to the form sign library and I will open the InfoPath form, you will notice that I get a message saying that this form is currently digitally signed. And if I place my mouse over these fields, you will see kind of a digital seal, and this makes all these fields read-only and signed. And you will see that the digital signature was created in the form. I can see the details of this signature. I can see the username of the person that signed the document, and so on. But as you can see, I can also add my comments. So this field was not signed, as I mentioned before, because the request signature signed only the request section. And just to show you that I can still make changes in this field, I will add some data here, and then I will save it into the library. Yeah, I need to check it out first if I want to make any changes. Okay, so I'll check out the document, and now we'll edit. Okay, save that. Okay, document. And now we'll check it. So I'll apply to the portion of the document, and the portion that was not logged, I was able to change it with some comments. Alright, so let's log in as the second user, as demo 2. And let's proceed to the signature task for the demo 2 user. Okay, so you can see that this is the task for the demo 2 user. I will edit this item. Again, as you can see, a signature profile is now approval signature, but I have only one because it was specified. And I will say I approve. We'll provide my username and password. And this will finalize the workflow as well as signing the second signature on the form. And going back, you will see that this time there was a second signature. You can see that this part is now sealed as well. Okay, so I kind of showed you two things at once. I showed you the workflow integration we have with SharePoint, and I showed you how to sign InfoPath forms directly from an InfoPath libraries in SharePoint. One more feature I would like to talk about is the list signing option. So you can go to a list that is enabled with digital signatures using our add-on. For example, if I create a new item, and then you can see that at first there are no digital signatures on this item, but I can choose some with CoSign, and very similar to what we did before, I can kind of sign on this item. So again, I will be providing my credentials, clicking sign, and then you can see that the item was signed using one digital signature by user demo 1. And then if I click the review signatures, I will see all the info, including the columns that were signed. Now, unlike a document, we don't embed the signature inside the document because there is no document. Instead, what we do is we have a hidden field inside this list where we actually embed the signature into. So the signatures are part of the list items. Now, if I go to the list item configuration, you will see that I don't have to see all of the columns. I can choose the specific columns I want to sign. In this case, I chose only the data and title fields, so it's up to me to decide which columns will be signed and which are not. Okay, So I think at this point I kind of showed you everything I wanted in my demo. So let's get back to the presentation. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is our API. So any of you that ever tried to use digital signatures with the standard APIs that are available out there, like Microsoft CAPI or Pixie 11, you would know that it's rather not so simple, because it kind of makes you it kind of assumes that you are a digital signature expert and you understand digital signatures in a very kind of deep way. And also, if you want to sign different document types, you would need to understand how the documents are being parsed and parse them yourself to create the hash and so on. So the idea behind our SAPI, which is the Signature API by CoSign, is to have a very simple API that will enable people to sign without having any vast knowledge about digital signatures, and make it as simple as possible. So for example, if you want to sign a PDF file, you simply call a sign function. You provide all of the details, such as the path to the PDF file, the location of the signature in the document, or the name of the field, and some additional info, and then you get a signed PDF file. You don't need to parse it, you don't need to do anything. You just provide the name of the PDF file, and the function will take care of everything using CoSign. So all the tools I just showed you, like the SharePoint add-on and the CoSign client integration we have with OmniSign, which is the utility for signing PDF files, all of these utilities and solutions are using our API. So everything we created, a customer can create for himself if he has some homegrown application that we don't integrate with yet, or if you have a specific need that we cannot offer as part of our standard offer, you can extend your own functionality by using our APIs. So these APIs are currently kind of separated into two parts. We have the SOAP web services available hosted on the CoSign appliance itself, and this is a clientless approach, and then you can use even mobile devices or non-Windows operating systems to access the sign functionality. And you have the C++ DLLs or the .NET assemblies to use from a Windows machine using our CoSign Connector software that you need to install on this machine. But this allows you much faster performance and some additional features that you cannot get using the SOAP web services. So our API consists of several things you can do with it. So you can sign, verify known file types such as Word, PDF, TIFF, XML, and so on. And you can also sign and verify buffers. Now a buffer is any type of data, raw data, so you can sign formats that are not currently supported by our API. And you can manage the signature fields in a document, you can enumerate the signatures, verify, validate them, manage the users in the CoSign appliance if you don't have a directory service integration, but you use the CoSign appliance in a directory independent mode, and so on. And as of late, we launched the developers portal. I will paste the link for that portal here. You can go there, you have all the resources. If you sign up to the portal, you get to download the software bundle, including the SDK, and then you also get an account on our hosted CoSign appliance, so you can start coding your sample codes using our APIs, and using this account to kind of see if the solution fits and to better understand the solution, and to develop your own programs and enable them with digital signatures. So I think it's a great resource. Please go there and see for yourself. So I think at this point, this is the end of the presentation. I will try to answer questions as much as I can, although our time is limited. For any questions that we will not be able to answer, you can either send them to sales@arx.com or support@arx.com, and we will gladly answer all of these questions later on using emails or phone calls, whichever is more comfortable for you. So let me start by just looking at the questions and see how many of them I will be able to answer. Okay. Okay, so there is a question about the recording itself will be available. So the recording will be available on our website. Also, all the participants will receive an email with a link to the recording so you can download it for yourself and see it later on. Also, we'll have another session on October 10th. You can go to our website and see all the available training sessions. We have training sessions not only for SharePoint integration but for other aspects of our products as well. So please go to our website and see for yourself if you missed part of the presentation, or you know someone else that will be interested to see this type of training. So please feel free to go and see for yourself. Okay, moving on to other questions. Okay, so there's a question about signing PDF files through SharePoint without providing the credentials each time. So if you use SharePoint with Kerberos mode enabled and you use our add-on configured to Kerberos mode, then you can have the single sign-on functionality, so you don't need to provide credentials each time you sign directly to SharePoint. You will use your SharePoint account, your Active Directory account to sign, and CoSign will use the Kerberos ticket to authenticate you with the Active Directory, and then it will enable you to sign the document without providing the credentials. Another question is about the minimum version of Adobe Reader that's required to use CoSign. So it's not that CoSign limits you in the Adobe Reader versions. It's that the fact that Adobe started to support digital signatures, if I'm not mistaken, from version 6. I need to check that. I don't remember exactly if it's, I think it was the 6th version of Adobe Reader. And starting from there, digital signatures were supported. It's not only Adobe signatures created by CoSign, it's digital signatures in general in Adobe PDF files. Okay. So the question is, does the web visual signing work within WSS 3.0? The answer is yes. You get the same functionality in WSS as you get in the MOS version. Okay, good question about multiple signing of documents. So at this point, you cannot sign multiple documents using SharePoint by selecting them. You can do that with list items. And the reason we do not allow that feature at this point, at least, is the fact that if you select different documents, how would you decide where to sign each document? Because you can, by mistake, select documents that are not the same, and then the signature will be created in different locations, so it's a bit of a problem. In any case, this is a solution we're thinking about, so it may be something we'll see in the next version. I'm not sure about that, but it's a good question. There's a question saying, will the graphical signature be printed on the form if available? So unfortunately, with forms, there are no graphical signature support. I'm not sure if it's something that we will be able to do in the future or not, because as far as I know, and this is something that is limitation in terms of InfoPath forms, not something that we can sort of overcome, because there is no built-in support for graphical images, unlike in other Office solutions such as Word or Excel. Okay, let's see what we have next here. Okay, there's a good question about batch sign. The question says, can somebody perform batch signing with SharePoint, meaning applying signatures on selected documents, I guess, without user interaction, if I understand the question correctly? It is a good question. We have a Nintex custom task that we are working on at this moment that will be out soon, that will allow you to have signing abilities without user interaction. You will supply your username and password as the Nintex workflow constants, and then you can create a workflow that will use this task in a loop and then create documents in batches. It can be used for example, receipt signing or any type of documents that require batch signing mode. So this is something that will come up shortly using our solution. At the moment, we don't have anything specific that allows you to do such operations, but it's something that will be available pretty soon. A good question about signing directly from Outlook as an attachment. So this is definitely a possibility, and this is true for the Word and Excel type formats because we have an add-on integrated into Office, so you can sign directly from Outlook. We have a feature upcoming in our upcoming CoSign client software that will enable you to sign attachments directly from Outlook, including the PDF files that are currently not supported when you try to sign directly from Outlook. So this is something to look for in the next CoSign client software version. There are some questions that I would like to skip regarding licensing schemes and installations. These are a bit technical. I will not cover them at this point, but feel free to send these questions by email, and I will gladly answer them at that point. So there's a question about CoSign supporting a PDF-A format. So the answer is yes, we do support PDF-A formats. A good question. Does CoSign manage the certificates, or will you need a third party to do that? CoSign has a built-in internal CA that manages all the certificates, revokes them, renews them automatically. So you don't need any third-party tool. Although it's an option, you can use a third-party CA. You don't have to. One of the main benefits of CoSign is the fact that you can create certificates on the fly without with zero management involved. There is a question about how many users and installations we have. We have hundreds of installations. I cannot give you a specific number at this point, but it's a very mature product, and we have almost in every vertical we have companies all around the globe using CoSign. Regarding the additional authentication, when I sign the document, there is a question asking if this is an optional step to provide the password each time you sign. So this can be configured on the site level. So you can decide, on the organization level, you can decide which authentication scheme to use, and if you enforce having the password provided or having the one-time password provided each time you sign, then it will be enforced to all users. It's not, it doesn't have to be optional. It can be enforced. Okay, let's see if we have some more questions. So, does the reject for digital signatures on the InfoPath form halt the workflow? It doesn't halt the workflow. It makes the workflow proceed to the next step, and it will update a variable in the workflow with the outcome saying that the signature was rejected and not performed, and then you can act upon that outcome. And for example, to notify someone that rejection was done or anything else you would like to do. Let's see. Okay, there is a question about the enterprise version of SharePoint. Is that supported? So the answer is definitely yes. Are Microsoft Office files supported within CoSign for SharePoint? We support InfoPath forms, as I showed before, Word and Excel with the new formats, with the DocX and XLSX formats. There is a question about, does CoSign only work with Adobe PDF, or can we use PDF readers such as NoSense that I'm not familiar with. So you can use any type of Adobe Reader kind of alternative you like. Not all of them will support digital signatures just because they don't implement those. that doesn't mean that they will not be able to open the document. That means only that you will not be able to see the digital signature itself. And again, this is a very specific to each implementation of PDF viewer. There is a question about how does CoSign notify the requester that the document was signed. Will it send an email to the requester? This is something you can do in a workflow. CoSign will not send emails for you, but you definitely can create a workflow where you send emails. There is a question that is not related to SharePoint, but I would like to answer it anyway. Does CoSign integrate with Laserfish workflow? So the answer is yes. We have integration built for Laserfish as well, and we support it. So feel free to contact us to get more details about that. We also have information on our website regarding other integrations. We made some other integrations. SharePoint is not the only one. So you can check that on our website. Let's see if I have some more questions. Well, actually, I think it's all the time we have today for the questions part. So thank you very much for listening. Again, if you have additional questions and I couldn't answer them on time, please feel free to send these questions as emails, either to sales@arx.com or support@arx.com. We'll gladly answer each and every question you may have. And remember, these recordings will be available for you using the link in the email you will receive after the session. And also, we have another session coming up on October 10th, so feel free to join that as well, and tell anybody you like to join the session as well. So thank you very much for listening. Have a great day. Thanks again.